And Bing, and we're live. And it's AtlanticScrum. It's Sam and Zhao. We'll just do a little roundup. I've done a local support client meeting. Ichi was with me. Hoping to see her again in a moment. Client pretty much happy. Actually, I just did we click deliver on all of the different bits and pieces? I think we did get some. Yeah, there's some things I need to click off actually. But yeah, nice. Short, sharp meeting with the client moving forward. Good chat with Thomas this morning about maybe writing a book about AgileVentures and comparing us with Free Code Camp and so on. Joao, how are things with you?
Well, yesterday I was able to install localhost with
Local support, I think you mean.
local support, sorry, with no problem.
Great.
And when everything from our spec was running correctly, I had a problem with Cucumber, with the scenario
Yes.
that I tried to solve with Michael
Yes.
yesterday, but we're not able to solve it
Yeah.
yet.
Yes, I read the description of it. Yes, this was on the develop branch, and it seems to be something, yeah, that's an issue that is specific to you at the moment, at least. But it sounded like you kind of had got a bit deeper into it. Do you want to show me specifically the issue so that we can maybe resolve it on your system? We could try and do that now.
Yep. So, can you see it?
Let me pull that up. Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, so basically, this is the scenario.
Mm-hmm.
This is a scenario from without user steps, and this is the step here, the scenario.
Right.
When I try to sort a column by name, the issue that I saw here is that nope, not this one. Feature. Just a second. Feature admin, and organization reports, and without users. No, it's this one. So basically, what I saw yesterday is that this scenario, when we try to sort this table row, it does not work.
Yeah, it fails on your system. Yes.
Yeah.
So much I understood from the reading the Slack thing. Yes. But I was hoping to see that failure on your system, or have you managed to make it pass on your system?
Okay. So the issue here is I just launched the Cucumber with this specific feature, with this scenario, and it worked correctly.
It works if you run it individually, but if you run them all together, it fails?
Yes, it's here. It's up here. I run everything, and it fails.
Right,
This scenario. Another thing that I've done yesterday was to pick up this, to try to comment everything up, all the scenarios before, and it worked as well. But if I uncomment one scenario, just one, and runs, well, yesterday what I did was I commented everything, and I just left these 3 steps here.
Yeah.
These 3 steps. And when it arrives to this third one, I visit the organizations without user pages. It breaks the scenario, the next scenario.
Right.
Basically, that one. What I saw was that in the using bybug.
Yeah.
What I saw was that the page.body does not have anything.
Right.
In that scenario. But we are using it in other steps, steps, not in this specific.
Well, then have you upgrade, like we've got the I mean, there's been some subversions to develop. Like I mean, there may be a timing issue here. I mean, are you on a virtual machine?
Yes.
So I think everything is running a bit more slowly. So there may be some timing issue here that you're getting hit with that's not affecting other people, which is, of course, unfortunate, and we would like to, resolve. But yes, I mean, so at the moment we've just merged in a number of other bits and pieces. So, for example, if I look at my the latest commit on the develop branch, it's 44CA88DF. So, I mean, if you do git log or git hist or whatever there, so we can see your so there, yeah, I mean, you're now a bit further behind. So you'd want to sync, you'd want to do, I mean, have you set an upstream here? So if you do git remote -v, what do you have? So you want to add the AgileVentures local support repo as an upstream there, and then do git pull upstream master. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, but I suspect that you will probably still have the same issue, but it's worth getting onto the latest developed thing and get. I mean, if you're getting involved, which I certainly hope you are, which is great, then we need to get you set up with that. Do you know how to add the remote?
No, at this point, no. But I'll check it out.
But well, there's a okay. Well, what I'll do is I'll get what is it? GitHub syncing to remote to upstream. There's an article in GitHub which I think pretty much and then so the first thing you want to do, I'll put this into the group chat here. You've got this configuring a remote for a fork, and then that's part of a larger article about syncing a fork. And as Ichi will tell you, I'm always going on about how important it is to sync your fork before sorting things out. So there, I would you've got git twice at the beginning of that line, and I would call the remote upstream rather than agile, just as a kind of standard that we do there. Again, I'm getting a slight audio kind of. It's like being at the seaside from your from your audio. Thanks, Zhao. I'll leave you to do that, and we'll check in with Ichi. Hey, Ichi, how you doing?
Hi. Hey, everyone.
Hey, everyone. Yes, the ongoing pollution pollen mix that we have in London. It's lovely, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, now, did you just want to check in? You were in the LocalSupport client meeting, weren't you, Ichi? Anything else to report since then?
No, I was just working now on the stylist of the categories to make some screenshots just to show to Rachel and to you.
Fantastic.
While working on it, I realized about the types. They are I don't like the size they have. It's not like the good hierarchy.
Sure.
And it sounds it seems like the type of the categories is a bit smaller than the categories itself.
Okay.
And if I increase it a bit, it's gonna become bigger than postcode, address, or whatever. So I was trying to change this to make a proper hierarchy. I don't know what you think, if I can do this kind of changes.
I think these kind of things, it's great to experiment with. I think that's Rachel and I will both be just filled with general happiness for you to experiment with those kind of things. Yeah. So I think what we've got here is a situation where you can try these things out and create screenshots, and then we can look at different alternatives and so on, and that's lovely. I think that works very well. Yeah.
Good. So about this, I find myself I find that I can't find some of the properties. For example, let me share my screen.
Sure.
It's it seems like there is more bootstrap files that I can find.
Indeed.
For example, in here, if I go, yes, there is a bootstrap and override CSS, for example, but it's almost nothing there. And then I see these import things like Bootstrap responsive or Twitter Bootstrap, but I can't find it in the projects. So
well, maybe have a look at my screen. And of course, I'm not we all know that CSS and Bootstrap is not my strong point, but navigating Rails projects is where I do better. But But so, which file were you looking in there? You were looking in the assets style sheets, like application or something. Where were you?
Bootstrap and overrides.
Bootstrap and override CSS.less. Yes. So yeah. So I mean, and are you familiar with less?
No yet.
No.
Well, I know the more easy way about variables and then call them, but I don't know much about this. Deploy is deploy the word when they put it all together. Or...
Yeah. So I mean, we've got these. I mean, you know that less and scuzz or whatever they are these CSS compiling systems that give us these other things. Now, I actually have not stored into my brain really exactly how they work, but given that I see something like this, import Twitter Bootstrap responsive like that, I know what I'm off to look for is somewhere in the system where we can find like a vendor folder for those kind of things. So
independent folder.
Let's just have a look for vendor assets style sheets. You've got Bootstrap switch in there. I mean, the other thing that I would do, if I'm not immediately finding that there, I think there is another place that maybe escapes me, but what I can do is if I go in here and I do find in path and I look for text defined, let's say responsive, like so, anywhere within the system, we can kind of have a quick look and see found 7 occurrences, uses in string content. So we've got that's the import. I have a feeling, actually, now that I look at this, that maybe what this is importing a gem. So I think if we look at the gem file, is that right? Yeah. What we've got here is we're using Twitter Bootstrap Rails.
Okay.
Yeah. So if we have a look at Bootstrap Rails, so we find that's a gem like this, and so I think, yeah. So you see how the different import things.
Okay.
So yeah, so I would say, and it looks like there's also a video there as well on how this all works. There's like a Rails cast. Do you know the Rails casts?
No, never.
Oh, well, that's a great resource for Rails if you haven't heard of it before. And it's basically a series of short videos on doing lots of different things in Rails. But very, I mean, it all depends. I think some people prefer to learn from text. Other people prefer to learn by pairing. Other people like videos. But this is pretty high quality stuff, and you can pay like a monthly subscription of about £10 to like see extended editions and this, that, and the other. But anyway, so the link there is to this. This is your Twitter Bootstrap 3.2 for the Rails 4 asset pipeline. So I think you'll find probably all the information you need in here.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, cool. All right, go on.
When I went to the inspect elements, for example, in the web, well, in my local host, of course. For example, I tried to look for what is the H4, and it's saying Bootstrap and
right.
What the name overrides, but it's not in there. So I guess it's getting in with these imports.
Yeah, I think it's that important, and then it's being, it'll be compiled, into.
The word, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, the thing that you can do actually, I mean, I've got the same thing up here. Like if I come through to this and I want to look at, let's inspect the element there and go into like you've got here. I mean, we can click through on there to find, where that is.
Okay, but definitely is not in that file.
Let's have a look here. Let's have a look at this one here, this file. So we've got that file. Let's see what it says at the top. Yeah. So yes, I mean the file is reporting it as being 795. We do also have. We've got our organizations CSS, but it's putting it down into that one. Yeah, assets. And I think if we're in, here you go. No, that's all the JS assets, style sheets. Like what it? Oh, here we go. What is it? Bootstrap Hold on. I can't even read the file name. What does it say? It's Bootstrap and overrides. Is that this one? Here we go. Yeah. So that, I think this one here, yeah, so we're seeing that like it's available on the file system under the localhost assets, but we're not seeing it here, and I think it's inside the gem, and when the Rails asset pipeline runs, it inserts it in here into the you know, the what's made available.
So it's kind of hide.
Say again?
Is kind of hide.
Well, yes. I mean, it's sort of, it's not explicit. We're you know, we're leaving it inside the gem. But I think if you work through here, you'll read about how to you know, like import other things or override or, you know.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, I think you can, and in principle, you know, you should, I would imagine, leave the defaults as they are. If there's something that we want to specifically do for the organization show page, then we can override that within here.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Perfect. Thank you.
Welcome. So then I noticed that you clicked start on the edit.
Yeah, because I was gonna start with this, but then I realized I said to Rachel and you that I'm gonna do that. So I click it after I realized I needed to do that first.
Sure.
But after this, I go straight away to this.
Okay, yeah, that certainly seems like a good thing to work on next. I guess I'll just say about that I think the new methods that we've been calling for doing the show thing for the let's go, which is now, I think, you know, what we're doing with this means that in principle for the edit one, that all of this could become a lot simpler. I might be wrong, but yeah. So this is definitely a more challenging, you know, setup.
Yeah.
So anyway, I mean, I'll continue to be around to give you support on that. It'll be interesting to look into. Another thing to consider is as kind of like a kata-like exercise, depending on how, I don't know how confident do you now feel about the flow from the feature to the model unit test to the application code? Did what we do this week, did that kind of make you feel more settled about that, or is it still kind of like,
I think still I am kind of not sure.
Sure. So I mean, you know, we can certainly, well, I mean, you know, we can move on to the next feature. We can go through the same process again. Feel free to, you know, check out an earlier commit and try and, you know, rebuild some of the process from memory if you want to. I just wanted to mention that as a possibility. In that I thought that it was an interesting, you know, what we did was particularly interesting to me because the fact that, you know, we did the little spike and then we went back and we did the test first and we saw that, you know, for example, the unit test already passed without the application code. That was kind of quite a good catch. You can see there really strongly how if we had ignored doing the testing or if we'd just, you know, written the test afterwards, that we would have ended up with, you know, more code than we wanted. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
In particular, in the, you know, I was busy encouraging us to write all this code in base organization over here that actually we've managed to avoid. So anyway, but yeah, I'll leave you with that to, you know, as possible. And then I'm also thinking about, I think it's quite an interesting bit of work that we did there. I'm thinking about writing it up as kind of like a, you know, as a kata for that other people might want to be doing as a kind of example of work in a larger project. But anyway, but the other potentially outstanding question that I thought that you might have had was related to the code that we used to make that view spec pass.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up.
Yeah, so we can have just a quick look at that if I can find it. It looks like it is. Oh, here it is. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, I think there's a separate conversation that we might want to have about just getting rid of all of the view specs. I think that might be an interesting thing to do, is just to delete all the view specs, delete all the controller specs. But that's the kind of thing, I mean, if we manage to have a retrospective on LocalSupport with some of the other people tomorrow, we can kind of get into. But I wanted to, rather than just deleting this one, to actually get the solution in there, because I think it's got some interesting bits and pieces. So this is the solution there. So was there, rather than me necessarily talking through every little bit of it, was there a particular part of it that seemed unclear?
Well, one is why is it really checking for the types also of because I can see the animal welfare sports are going in all the types of categories.
Yes, they are. I mean, I mean, what we've done really here is we've patched up the spec, the view spec, rather than adapting it to the functionality that we were changing now is that these different kinds of things appear in different locations. And so in our feature test, we've got a proper tight check of different categories appearing in different subheadings. Yeah.
Yeah. So here, what exactly we are testing?
Well, so here, all we've done is we've just, like previously, this view spec was created just for the original presence of categories. Yeah. And the only change that we've really made here is to stop it failing. Yeah,
okay.
we've just adjusted it so that it works with the new system, but we haven't tightened it up to check like that the categories appear in the particular location.
But it's really checking whether they are in the right location or not.
It does not. It does not.
Okay.
At the moment, it does not. Now, if we were strong believers in view specs, yeah. I mean, if you join us at an earlier point in the project, we might have been saying that you had this. There's a bit of an echo, by the way. I don't know if you're still using your headphones or.
No, sorry, I had my headphones, but I was listening a strange noise when you were talking, like a noise in the background. And I thought I didn't know it was the. I'm gonna try.
It sounds like an echo on my side. Are you still there, Richie?
Yeah, and now I hear you without this background noise.
Yeah. Good show. Yes. So, if we'd started, if we were back in the past, what we might have said is, let's write the feature test, and then let's write a view spec, and then let's write a controller spec, and then let's write the model spec, which is, and this final one is sort of the unit test, right? Like this, yeah. And you can do it this way. You can write the feature test, you can write the view spec, you can write a controller spec, and then a model spec. And this, I think it's potentially interesting to do. It's a great workout, but I think over time I've come to believe that actually it's not really worth it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So what we've done here in this situation is we've just patched up the view spec that was originally driving the creation of this, so that it doesn't fail, yeah. And but we haven't gone so far as to actually make it. See, it is still doing what it says. It's just checking that the categories are. Oh, I guess, but you are. So maybe you updated this to say by type here.
Yes.
Yeah. So probably that's slightly incorrect as it stands. In that, yeah, we're not doing such a detailed check. We're just, I mean, the test as it was, it renders categories when present, but it failed because we were introducing new logic.
Okay. Yeah, we add this what they do.
Yeah, exactly.
What they do to the code. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And the reason it was failing when you were doing it was partly it was this message chain issue, but also you had like a kind of a mock model here.
Yeah, I don't know what is the difference between mock model and double.
Yeah, so mock model is specific to active to Rails and active record. Yeah.
Okay.
So in this case, mock model is fine because we have an organization that's that's an active record model, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've got an organization that extends from base organization that is extends from active record base. However, in this case, the categories thing that gets returned, this kind of, it seems like an array. It's not really. It's what's being returned is this category active record association relation. Yeah. So if we have mock model here, yeah, the thing goes, oh, this is not a active record model, and it just fails.
Okay.
Whereas a double, we don't have to. A double is just like it's nothing. It's got no assumptions. It's like you can make a double out of anything. It can be a string. You can put a class name there. Whatever, it doesn't matter. So it's just going to be a thing, right? And then the only thing we really know about this cat's double is that we're going to allow it to receive these message chains.
Okay.
And yeah, so that was the thing that was blocking you there. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And then so once I changed it to a double, that was fine. But it was then blocked against. I think before, when we had map here, or rather we'd had map here.
Yeah.
Like this. Map will work with any array. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But pluck, which is good in this case where we have an active record association, it only works for active record associations. Pluck.
Okay.
So in order to make this work with pluck, I had to set it up so that we could, so that this double here is basically going to be the result of this. Sorry, the result of this. Yeah, we call when because the view spec is just handling the view by itself. So we're saying we're stubbing what all category is going to return. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And the way that we've written this code, we need to be able to first call how they help, and then pluck on whatever's returned from here.
Okay.
Yeah. And so what the received message chain says, basically, for this thing here, this cats, you can call this on it, and you can call this on the result of that, and this is what we're going to get back.
Okay, and then we need to say also that pluck is gonna work on name?
No, I mean, we don't have to, because basically it's going to just ignore the argument in this case. We don't really care. All we care about really for this view here is, given that this is a thing that's just going to operate on an array, yeah, all we care about from the point of view of making the view work is, do we get the right thing out of the end of that sequence of calls? And so we can just ignore that, because name is an aspect of the active record thing, and that's in the view spec. If we're testing the view spec here, we're only testing the view. We don't care about how the model works. We're stubbing out the model, and we're ignoring all of the details of the model.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's kind of, and don't feel if it doesn't make perfect sense at the moment. This, but what is good to be aware of is that there are these different approaches. So, the feature test tests everything, the acceptance test, yeah. And so then, underneath, like in order to, particularly in Rails or many other things, in order to get something to work, first you've got to have, I mean, it's going to hit the controller first. And actually, we might well do the controller spec first. It's going to hit the controller first. The controller is going to do some things with some models. Yeah. And then the results of those models are going to be fed into a view. Yeah. So all of these three things are going to be involved in supporting this. I mean, as a controller, model, and view. But so in principle, you can test the controller separately from the model, separately from the view. If you, for example, the view, you stub out any kind of Ruby code that's in there. You can obviously just test the model by itself. And the controller, you can test it independently by just saying, right, stub out all of the models and don't process the view. But so it's good to be aware that that is a way that we can do it. But the way that I think Makers seems to go on a lot of it is to say, well, the feature acceptance test itself is going to test the controller and it's going to test the view, and we should be keeping our controllers and our views as skinny as possible. Yeah. So there's almost no logic in there, and push all of the logic into models, and also this other thing called services, which we'll maybe come to later. But so that, and then we focus our unit tests on the services and the models. And that just makes the whole thing a bit simpler.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Anyway, but but so in principle, maybe we'll just get rid of all of the specs. What will be interesting, I guess, is if you start on the next one, where we're looking at the form, is I have a feeling actually with this one, this one's being developed more recently, and there won't be any view specs. He said hesitantly, and you maybe won't have to worry about it. So anyway, we'll see.
Okay.
But
and do you think that I would have to create a feature test? I guess it's not.
Well, yes. Well, yes, you would. Although you can certainly do what we did last time, which is that if you don't feel ready to create a feature test, is you could start with a spike. Yeah.
Okay.
Just playing around with it, to try and understand what's working and this, that, and the other, and think about it and so on. But, of course, the critical thing, as we saw the last time around, is after we've made the spike, we should, ideally perhaps delete it, but at the very least, go on to a new branch. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So any tests that we're writing, we're writing them kind of clean against the old code before we did the spike. And then this makes sure that the tests are really working for us. Yeah, they're not like it did last time. We write a model. See, if we had missed out that new branch step last time around, we would have ended up with code in our model that we didn't need.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So, yeah. Cool.
Cool.
Okay. Well, if that's good, I'll let you get on with that. I guess. Joao, how are you doing there on getting your? I guess the whole time I should be locked on your screen. Should be not on mine. But anyway, Joao, I guess you upgraded to the. Did you manage to sync the code from the upstream?
Yeah.
Cool. But I guess the error is still there.
Yeah, the problem's still there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to slip off now. Ichi, Joao is. You did the 169 course, yeah, online, the software engineering one.
Yes.
Yes. It's been around AgileVentures and started working on doing a bit of local support. I guess the two available. Maybe you guys would want to pair for a bit.
Yes. Well, I don't know if wait until I finish the styling thing, and then when I start the next categories edit would be the good moment.
Yeah, it could be. It depends. Joao, are you interested in the styling and the CSS and the Twitter Bootstrap and stuff?
Not really that much.
No, okay.
But I can give a hand.
Yeah. Well, anyway, what you could also be doing. I think, you're working on this this bug there that you've got that seems to be specific to your system, Joao. And yeah, the two of you can just use it as you could do a side-by-siding. I could, if you want, I can leave the Hangout running and you can just, I'll turn the broadcast off. But yeah, if you guys want to hang out and chat, am I guessing correct that you're both Spanish speakers as well?
I think he's Portuguese.
Speakers, yes.
But maybe I'll speak some Spanish. Anyway, well, I'll certainly let you guys get to know each other.
I have to say sorry that since Joao is mute, I have again this back noise that I cannot almost listen.
Yeah, I get it as well. I get it as well from Joao. Joao seems to have some sort of setup with, I wonder if it's his headphones or his microphone. That makes it sound like it's kind of windy in the background. Joao is, I guess, on a Windows machine with running Ubuntu on top of it. Windows machines, I often have trouble with microphones. Something you might consider investing in, Joao, is an external microphone or something, just to see if that might work with you well. Anyway, but so I know Joao.
I think it doesn't really matter because I'm not using today the phones, but
you're not using the headphones.
Let's say I still have the same problem, so I believe it's the issue here with the laptop and the microphone that is in the laptop.
Right. Yeah. So, but if you bought an external microphone and plugged that into the laptop, then maybe that would work better. Or if you have an external microphone around, you can also use existing headphones and plug them into the microphone port and use them as a microphone. Anyway, but I know Joao is maybe, particularly once he's got that bug fixed up, which maybe he'll need some more help on. But Joao will be looking for something to pair on. So anyway, I'm I'm going to pop off now, and I will catch up with you. So yeah, tomorrow 8:30 will be the usual stand-up, and then potentially a retrospective later in the day. I'm still not a bit. I mean, I'll let you know. Anyway, have fun, and feel free to reach out anytime on Slack, and I'll try and make sure you get as much help as possible.
Okay, thank you, Sam. See you.
All right, take care. Bye for now.
Bye.